Daniel Jeremiah, NFL Network's draft analyst, today on some wide receivers, defensive tackles he thinks will be there and will have the Browns' interest.
Wide receiver is going to be a deeper group at 54. You're potentially looking at, you get Pearsall, you've got Troy Franklin from Oregon, I think will be there. I mentioned Corley earlier, Coleman, Roman Wilson. If you just want some speed, I mean, there's going to be a lot of options for guys that can really, really run. Leggett, I think, has trended up. I don't know that I don't see him being there at that point in time, but there's good guys there in the mix at the wide receiver position. At the defensive tackle position, I think you're having to take on maybe a little bit of a project there. The name I would not rule out is Dorless from Oregon. Jim Schwartz loves guys who can get up the field and attack in that jet front that he plays. And Dorless, as a 3 technique, can really, really get up the field. Really, really athletic dude. So that to me feels like a Jim Schwartz type pick. And I would also say someone like, Dwayne Carter is an interesting one as well. So those guys, I think the defensive tackles as a whole are going to get pushed up. I just think there's too much talk around the league about this position and how hard it is to find and how impactful it can be if you get guys. So those are a couple names to keep an eye on.
Fred, when you listen to that, we've talked a little bit about Franklin. That might be a guy that interests him. I like Corley.
Yeah, Western Kentucky, it really is going to be, they want speed. The problem with Anthony Schwartz, is he didn't really catch the ball very well. And you want guys that can do it all. And Corley's a guy I've heard they've liked. Franklin's a guy, Polk. I mean, there are a lot of them. It's really, I've said this because this is unlike just about any draft in recent years for the Browns. They really are pretty much set with all their starters. You're really looking for depth. All you have to do is look at last year. On the inactive day, almost, I think at least 4 or 5 of the inactive players were draft picks last year. I mean, it was like there was just they weren't ready to play because they had a set lineup. And so it's going to be who they feel can help them with that second round pick this year. And so if they feel there's a wide receiver that can step right in and be the 3rd or 4th receiver, I think they would pull that trigger. Same way with defensive tackle. Now last year they took Siaki Ika in the 3rd round. He really never got on the field. One of the guys I said was inactive the whole season. So it really comes down to do they think Ika's ready to play? Is that this year? And maybe they don't need to draft somebody in the defensive line, in the same way with how they feel with Tellman and some of the other guys on wide receiver or whatever. But I really think that, this is the highest they picked since last year, and they traded that pick because they felt Elijah Moore could play right now. So if they decide none of these guys are what they want, they could trade it to get somebody they feel could play right now.